Hey gang, it's your boy. It's Hugh McPherson here from Maze Quest. Welcome back to the Positive Business Action podcast here with John hosting us out today. And he just asked, are you ready? And man, of course I am. Action is in the name of it. And you don't get anything done if you don't take action. What are we talking about today, John?
So today we're starting on our series of customers coming out of your ears. And we're going to focus today on cross marketing, which really just explains how to get more values from the customers you have instead of always chasing new customers.
Yes, that's great. And the customers coming out of your ears. It's a book I wrote a while ago, basically trying to get every little marketing trick I've got in my head out and in there. It was kind of fun to revisit stuff and talk about each one. So kick us off, man. Where are we going?
So you really open this chapter and it kind of hit me saying that business owners know everything about their business, obviously, because they own and run the business, but their customers really don't know everything about the business.
I would add that customers don't know anything about your business. You know, you can tell this. I'm about to go to a convention here, and I know at this convention, I'll hear this common complaint, and it's nobody knows how to park. Our parking lot's a mess. I got 5 attendants. Nobody knows how to park. And honestly, it's not their job to know. I mean, aren't you just thankful that they drove themselves in at all? I mean, they aren't supposed to know the setup of your parking lot. You are supposed to make it as easy as possible because they can't possibly know about the product. You know what they know the most about? Their lives. And it's literally all they care about. They don't even really care about you. They only care about how you're going to positively impact their life. They don't know where the bakery is. It's not their job. They don't know where the winery is. I mean, we have signs, we have arrows, we have dots that we stuck to the sidewalk. We have a giant sign. It says winery. And we have people like, when did you open the winery? And we go, 10 years ago. Where have you been, Ethelland? Oh my gosh. Right? It drives us insane. But in all fairness, it's not their job. Right? We live in it every day, but it's not their job. Right? It's our job to make sure they get from place to place.
I also feel like a lot of times they have one goal in mind, like they want to come to get apples or to get wine or to go to the corn maze and not go to all three or do all three things that they could do or many more that they could possibly do.
You're right. They're mission oriented, right? I came with the girls to go to the winery, right? They came for a tasting, tunnel vision, right?
Mhm.
The only mission is get into that tasting. Now, some people, we used to have on either side of the driveway to the corn maze were peach trees. Literally had to drive through the peach trees to get to the maze. And thousands of people came to the maze. And we would hear people all the time, we didn't know you're a peach orchard. We didn't know, right? Because their only mission was get to the maze. We actually had the maze in the wrong spot in 1997, back in the day. It was away from the farm market. They could go to the maze and leave and never see the farm market. We were just literally shooting ourselves in the foot, right? They couldn't even accidentally come upon it. The next year, we moved it so that it was closer to the farm market, so at least some fool would trip over what they're doing. And that's what we're talking about with cross marketing, right? You already tricked someone to get there. Maybe it's only for wine. Maybe it's only for sunflowers. Maybe it's only for the maze. But now, how do we get them to the rest of the business?
And I feel like that it can help too with the extra festivals and stuff you've added. So that also adds like come to the Sunflower Festival or come enjoy the pumpkin patch in the fall and stuff like that.
Yes, right. Adding those festivals brings people. It's kind of like the original maze idea, right? So we were an apple orchard. I grew up, we were doing pick your own apples all throughout my childhood. And the maze was like, well, you may not travel an hour to go pick apples, but to go have fun and do this unique experience, maybe you would travel an hour, right? So the maze was kind of the initial one of these. We know when we opened our Sunflower Festival, we saw people who we had never seen before. I mean, it's kind of a fun and wild crowd at the Sunflower Festival. And they never were going to come for the corn maze, right? To go ride the hayride, and get a little pumpkin. They were never going to do that. So it was expanding our market very specifically. Same with a lavender festival. And then when people are here, right, we try to trick them into the winery. Each one of those, they kind of just extends your season, just build your market a little ways, right? Those events are bringing people in so that we can show them and tell them the story of the rest of the place.
And even if they aren't originally interested in, say, the corn maze, they may never have heard about this place until they found something like the Sunflower Festival. And then they come and then maybe they do become interested in the corn maze or even just stopping in the bakery and or the winery. And then they just get exposed to a whole different aspect that they weren't expecting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's straight up trickery. That's all we're doing. I mean, we're just admitting it and telling you that in fact, there's a couple things you can do to specifically promote that they find out about the rest of stuff.
Right. And I always thought it was very interesting and it seems almost counterintuitive at the start to start very small, but it seems to make a lot of sense once you start to think about that kind of like events and stuff.
Yeah. Our Sunflower Festival, it started out, it was going to be 3 acres. I totally had no idea what I was doing. I misplanted 1.5 of those 3 acres. So literally our first Sunflower Festival was on an acre and a half. And we famously sold out 26 times that first Sunflower Festival because people would come in and cut the flowers, and then we had to sell out for the next day. And then more people would come, and then the flowers would bloom again, and then they'd cut them all, and then 3 weekends, 26 sellouts. But it proved that it had some legs to it, right? You don't need to be perfect. One of my superpowers is I have no need to be perfect, right? That's the action part. I was so positive that this business was going to work that we just planted some sunflowers, right? We just went for it. And it's a theory now that people call building in public. And building in public simply means when you're picking your sunflower seeds, do a little video. When the seeds arrive, do a little video of Jenny opening them up and getting them all organized by time and date. When you're planting, we do videos. When we're weeding, we do videos. When we're putting out the props, we do videos, right? We're building the festival in public. And so the festival is much more valuable than just opening day, right? We get that social media climb. None of it's perfect. My tractor's dirty. I run out of seeds all the time and I just film it, right? I mean, it's just, what's that terrible beep? It means you are an idiot and you ran out of seeds, right? No perfection needed, right? That's one of my superpowers. Just get out there and start it.
And that shows that you can learn as you go. So the next year, if you want to try again, you're more prepared and more ready to go tackle the task ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think we should give them some specifics, right? Because I hate when people just chip, 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 chip. You don't have any deliverables. So I want people to walk away with some deliverables. Let's get into some of the specific things people could do for cross marketing.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of the chapter in your book was the this, then that.
Yes, yes. IFTTT, right? If this, then that. And I got that name from a website that was one of like the early automation kind of websites like Zapier and now like AI agents and things are doing. This is super old. It's called If This, Then That. So if this thing happens, if a customer does one thing, then they are automatically rewarded for doing something else. So for instance, if you buy peach wine, you get a peach picking coupon. Redeemable, guess where? In the peach orchard, right? If you buy fruit pies, you get a discount on jams. If you pick apples, you get a free wine tasting, right? See how easy this is? I mean, these are silly little paper coupons, no bigger than this, that we give out at every point to try to get people to the next place, right? And that's just all you have to do is sit down and just think of, okay, they're in this section of my farm market. I want to get them to this one. They're at this part of my farm or at this event. How do I get them to the next one? and you just write it out.
And yeah, that just kind of expands where they can see because a lot of people may come to, say, the Sunflower Festival or the Corn Maze and not know that our bakery has pies, has jams, all the delicious treats that you can find. And with a coupon that says you get a free donut or a free scoop of ice cream or something, it just sends right down into the farmer's market. And then there's a whole vast variety of things that they can choose from.
Right. And the trickiest part, okay, I want you to keep this in mind. People say, well, then everybody's going to need a discount for everything. Everybody's, oh no, no, I can't do that because then my jams are discounted, and then they're gonna also get a free wine tasting. And look. The hardest thing to do is convince people to come to your farm. Once they're there, they're totally captive, right? Peach pickers may not know there's a winery. Wine customers may never go to the orchard, right? Bakery customers may never stop by the jam counter, right? You're kind of breaking that habit. If they were so focused on that one thing, you're breaking that by giving them, you have to kind of interact with them to do it, right? Interaction means you're probably going to have a better result anyway, right? Signs and note cards. It doesn't take anything expensive, right? Just needs to break that habit.
That kind of goes into a story about fudge that you wrote about with a promotion on fudge.
Yes, yes. So the original promotion, and this is classic. This is from decades of fudge selling, and we learned it from our fudge rep. Was buy a pound of fudge, and you get a quarter pound free, right? So encouraging them to buy multiple slabs so they can get another little slab of fudge free. Now that sounds fine until you realize that fudge is expensive. And so my pal Tom Twite said, hey, we do a promotion with our fudge, but we say buy a pound of fudge and get a small kettle corn bag free. Now, the customer gets sweet and salty, and we're giving away one of the highest margin items. We're actually giving away less money in a bigger bag, and we're making them move out of not just buying fudge, but now they're buying an excellent little complimentary product.
And it feels great for the customer too, because then they get to walk away with something that was unexpected.
That's right. That's right. And tickling their taste buds in a different way, right? Maybe they weren't going to buy the kettle corn anyway, but you push them up on the fudge, all of a sudden they get the kettle corn.
That's kind of like a win-win situation for everybody there.
Yes, and for your bottom line, because otherwise, the minute they leave, they take their wallet with them.
That is true. All right, let's switch into something that's called channel switching because that feels very important, especially in today's day and age with social media platforms and having so many social media platforms, and then also just the classic forms of outreach.
Yeah, so channel switching is incredibly important now. Last year, we actually went through the email apocalypse, and what happened is in almost the same week, Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft all cranked their email filters to crazy town. So we had previously been emailing like 22,000 people, getting a 30% open rate. Everything was going great. And within from my Tuesday email to my Friday email, boom, we went down to under 2% open rate because they had just jacked the filters. It was crazy. And it's a reminder that you need to think about getting to your guests, your customers in every channel possible. So what I mean, you don't own your Facebook followers. Mark Zuckerberg does, right? At any moment, your page could be suspended. So you may have 50, 60,000. Oh my gosh, right? That's incredible how many people follow your page. It's so wonderful. Oh my goodness. Boom, it could get shut off. And I've had it happen to clients, not through any fault of their own. Sometimes they get spammed. Sometimes their account got hacked and there's just no one to talk to. They can't talk on Facebook anymore. So I want you to think like anybody you've got on Facebook, get them a deal to get onto your email list. All right. If you have a ton of people on your email list like we did, you want to make sure in that email list, you're saying, hey, make sure that you get the latest updates and pictures at Facebook, right? You're going to move them around there. Now, one of the great things about ticketing that we use Ticket Spice, and with them, when someone purchases a ticket, we get their name, their email, their address for their credit card, and their mobile phone to text them, right? So now we can find you email, Facebook, we can direct mail people who've been to our farm before, right? Send them a postcard. We can text them, and you want to make sure that you're driving them in this circle. If I have your text, are you on our Facebook? If I have your Facebook, do I have your email? If I have your email, do I have your text message, right? And you just give them offers, 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 offers the whole way around. Believe me, you can't over offer people to get to your place because people move, people die, and the worst part is people forget about you. So you need to move around in each area. When you have that person that you can get to in so many different ways, you have basically spent the time to strengthen the relationship.
And I heard you mentioned Ticket Spice, which also leads to another which can be fickle, but Groupon. A lot of people have mixed feelings about Groupon because it can be difficult to work with.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And really, honestly, if you're listening, I appreciate it. Half of the people will clock out now. And I've stopped trying to convince people to do Groupon, but I'll tell you how you can do it correctly. Okay. So with Groupon, think of it like a radio station, right? Groupon is just like the country music station. So you put ads on the popular station, you put ads on the country radio station, you put them on the Groupon radio station, right? Now, Groupon can be dangerous if you do it incorrectly. So the trick is that you can only discount and only sell the soft costs. All right. So you certainly wouldn't put something like a pie or a Christmas tree into your Groupon deal. You would only be discounting admission, right? Admission is very soft. You probably wouldn't notice if another 500 people showed up today, right? But it's driving customers into your profit centers. Now, if you're not set up to take advantage of those people when they get there, right? Then you're also going to kind of fumble the Groupon ball here, right? Say Groupon, for instance, for us gets them to the corn maze. That's great. They're on site. Yes, it was inexpensive for them to get in, but food is at full price. Pumpkins are at full price. Beer and wine is at full price. And when they check in, we give them a free Apple coupon. Guess the only place you can redeem your free Apple coupon, you got it. The farm market, where there's the bakery and right next to the wine tasting area, right? And it's got all of the goodies inside there. So if you're using Groupon, you're going to discount the soft cost, get them on site, but make sure once they're there, you've got a way to push them into all of your other places. So it's not just that single transaction.
And that was a lot of information for everybody. um, so if someone was feeling overwhelmed with all of this information, what do you think one small thing that they could start with that'll get them on the road to being able to do all this cross platform advertising and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. It's just as easy as picking one product that sells very well and then connecting it to one other experience or a product, right? Just think of your guest coming in having no idea about all of the wonderful things you do. If you greet it with that kind of open mind that they just don't know and they might be confused, just take one product and connect it to another. Just take picking apples and get them into the winery, right? Just take the winery and get them into the bakery, right? Take your admission and get them into the sales area where you have your donuts, right? That's the key. Just connect one product that sells really well, get it connected to something else, and just start guiding those customers around.
Well, thank you very much. That was some great information. I especially appreciate your willingness to talk about the customers coming out of your ears with cross marketing. I think that is a very great message that you came up with, that just to help those small business owners and even big business owners with being able to just connect things together and really get the customers and move them around their business.
You got it. Make no assumptions. That's the message. Make no assumptions about it. And just get out there, take some action, and try something.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening to our positive business action episode. Catch us next time, and we'll see you soon.